Am I the asshole for telling my parents we are not having this conversation again? My 27 male brother, 38, and sister-in-law are working abroad right now.
My nephew, 12, mainly lives with my parents but spends the weekends with me, so they have time to themselves.
He recently asked if I could buy him a copy of The Wealth of Nations. At first I wasn't sure if he would be able to comprehend it. But then I figured, there's nothing inappropriate in the book. The worst that could happen is he doesn't understand and loses interest in the book, in which case I can take the book back and read it myself. As it turned out, he does like the book and actually manages to understand it. At least, the main principles.
He discussed it with my sister, 35, a professor of economics, who is very impressed and called him very bright for his age. My parents, though, are convinced I pressured my nephew into reading the book. They think I'm trying to turn him into a bookworm like me. At first I simply denied it and told them he wants to know how the world works. He is their only grandchild, after all. I told myself they're just being doting grandparents and there's no reason to get into an argument about it. But they kept asking him if he actually really enjoys the book and questioning me, accusing me of pressuring him. They couldn't believe a 12-year-old would enjoy that book. So I told them we are not having another conversation about this. Dad said I didn't have to be hostile and they were only being concerned for their grandkid. Not the asshole, your nephew is 12 years old, he's old enough to decide what he reads. I find it equal parts amusing and baffling why your parents are discouraging your nephew from pursuing his interests and reading a book. It's a weird grandparent flex. How do you buy our grandchild a book they want to read? What the heck? Being a bookworm is somehow a bad thing? Sigh. I am truly sorry that this is happening. They are not doting. They are, well, kind of mean. If they are pressuring this child to fess up that you are trying to make him, gasp, into a bookworm who understands and is curious about the world around him. That is wrong. I mean, shame on you for doing such nonsense. Their concern is whack emo. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. They think I'm trying to turn him into a bookworm like me. The horror. Dad said I didn't have to be hostile and they were only being concerned for their grandkid. They're right to be worried. He could turn out to be thoughtful and intelligent so he wouldn't fit in with them. Not the asshole, and I guess we found out why the kid doesn't ask grandparents to buy him books. Not the asshole, you need to ask your parents what is wrong with loving to read? Your parents just insulted you. Info, huh? Your parents are concerned because their grandkid is checks notes reading? Why would doting grandparents be concerned about this? I'm extremely confused. Am I the asshole for refusing to teach my dad's wife how to make my mom's pie? My mom had this pie she used to make all the time. It was the family favorite dish. My siblings, 7 female, 6 male, and I, 17 male, love it. After mom died 2 years ago, I took over making it. Now my dad is remarried and his wife wants to learn to make the pie because she said it's a motherly thing to do. Make your kid's favorite meal. And she feels like I'm getting in the way of her having that experience with them. I refused to teach her how to make it. I told her I'm going to keep making it and giving it to my siblings, and it's an experience where I can tell them about mom and they can ask about her. She told me she's going to be their mom now and deserves to have the chance to do this for them. I told her I don't care and I'm not teaching her. My dad told me I should step back and let his wife step in and take over this kind of thing, and I'm the only one who knows it of the two of us. She tried a few times to remake it and it wasn't liked. She told me making something like that is a whole part of motherhood and I'm denying her. That I need to get out of her way of making it as my sibling's mom. She told me teaching her is honoring the family she wants to have. I'm still refusing to teach her and I get asked more each day because I'm closer to turning 18 and moving into the house my aunt owns nearby. My dad and his wife are more angry now than ever. Am I the asshole? I'm a step-parent. One of the fundamentals of step-parenting is understanding that you do not get to decide that you are the new parent. You play the role as best you can and it's up to the kids to decide whether or not you're their parent. You sure as hell don't get to insert yourself into any specific tradition that someone else began. You have to be invited. Not the asshole. Sounds like your dad got married very quickly and without doing the work to prepare and consult with you guys to help you feel comfortable with it. If the pie is your thing, let her and your dad find another way to integrate her with the family.
Not the asshole. She told me she's going to be their mom now and deserves to have the chance to do this for them. She's not their mother and she doesn't get to make that decision. She can find some other way to bond with them.
That pie can't be the only thing the kids like.
I don't think she was in a hole for asking. But she is definitely in a hole for how she asked. And for forcing the issue. She's not respecting your mom's place in your life and sounds like she's trying to erase her. She should drop it and focus on finding another bonding agent.
Your dad's in a hole too for how he's reacting to the whole thing.
Not the asshole.
Don't give her the recipe ever.
Not the asshole. I hate step-parents who think a deceased spouse is replaceable.
If she wants a special meal to share with the family, she can find a recipe of her own instead of taking over your mother's pie.
Tell her to look for brownie recipes or something.
Am I the asshole for refusing to let my Sil babysit my baby and being unwilling to hear her out? My husband and I had to be somewhere for our older child, so we asked my Mill if she could watch our 3-month-old son for a few hours.
She said of course. Unfortunately, when we went to drop him off, she wasn't home and one of my husband's sisters, Jane, 21, was instead.
Apparently my Mill wasn't going to be home for a bit, so she, Jane, agreed to watch our son for some time. I immediately said no because, well, Jane believes that babies don't feel anything.
She thinks that they cry for no reason and we shouldn't respond to their cries ever for whatever reason. And that not responding won't have any effect on them. She thinks that anything we do to babies during this period of their lives will have absolutely zero effect on them in the future. She will often call them mindless too.
My husband called his mom and we politely explained our concerns and then hung up because we were extremely busy already. And now we had to find another babysitter as well.
I figured that was it until Jane came over extremely upset and in tears insisting that she's not a bad person and that she would never do anything to hurt any kid. She then accused me of discriminating against her because she doesn't have kids like everyone else in the family. I told her straight up that I don't give a crap if she wants kids of her own, but I don't like her thoughts on how to care for babies specifically. Instead of trying to understand me, she doubled down and said that her way of dealing with babies makes sense and that I'm wrong and I'm just extremely sensitive in nature, so of course I don't get it. She kept arguing with me about how to take care of my baby, so I just asked her to leave and she blew up on me.
My husband even told her to calm down and that it's not like we're preventing her from seeing our kids altogether, but she just went, "Fuck you and your dumb ass kids," and left.
Which, okay.
But my Mill is really annoyed with me because Jane is still very upset and I'm just wondering if I'm the Like I don't think I am, especially since no one lets her babysit for the same reasons, but I'm the first person to actually say no to her face and tell her why instead of making up an excuse. And perhaps I was too harsh.
Not the asshole. The research into infant development is extensive and everything they experience is important. Tell Jane to do some actual research, and if she can find any science-based, peer-reviewed support for her view, you will at least listen. And tell mother-in-law that you care more about your innocent child's well-being than her entitled adult child's hurty feelings. That you will slay dragons to protect your child, and that sister-in-law is dangerous and any reasonable person knows it. Mother-in-law owes you an apology for planning to leave your baby with a child abuser. Not the asshole "fuck you and your dumbass kids." Means that your kids never have to interact with her again. Why would she want to be around dumbass kids anyway? Sorry, Sil, sucks to suck. Not the asshole. Your mother-in-law owes you a huge apology, and if I were you, I wouldn't ask her to babysit again, as she has proven she is untrustworthy. She agreed to babysit, and then wasn't even there when you went to drop the baby off? What the fuck? And then she leaves your sister-in-law there, the one who, no one lets her babysit for the same reasons, to watch your baby, without asking you first? Stick to your guns. That family sounds crazy, and you were absolutely right with everything you did and said. Sadly, if your mother-in-law is defending her and thought it was okay to substitute Jane for herself without telling you, that means mother-in-law is also no longer a safe babysitter. Not the asshole. Jane is negligent. That's what that is. It's planned negligence. And the fact that your mother-in-law is okay with that is worrying. Not the asshole and whoa. Like, I'd never be comfortable leaving my kids with someone that flies off the handle when faced with a differing opinion. The fact that your mother-in-law is okay with this says she'll 100% leave your kids with Jane just to undercut you and your spouse. Mother-in-law should be cut off from babysitting and you and your partner should be NC with Jane. Am I the asshole for taking a chip from my best friend's girlfriend's plate on a double date? My best friend invited me on a double date with his girlfriend's best friend. Me looking to get into a relationship said yeah sure. Not knowing what I was getting into.
So my friend picks me up and we all head out to dinner to this nice place they picked.
When we got there everything was going well until our food arrived. Everyone got their plate and we all jumped into eating. I saw that my chips was straight cut and my best friend's girlfriend ordered curly fries with her food instead of normal straight cut. Me curious how it tastes just say, "Oh how does your chips taste?" and grab one chip of her place. She then looks at me in shock and says, "What the fuck did you just touch my food?" I then just said oh sorry did you want some of my chips? Trying to be fair. She then turns to her boyfriend and goes nope I'm not eating. And throws her cutlery on the table and sits back. Me embarrassed as hell next to my date just say I'm sorry I didn't know you didn't like people touching your plate. Would you like me to order you a new plate and said sorry? She then stated being as stubborn as hell and says nope and nope. Even her best friend said she can share her plate with her and she was still being as stubborn as hell. We then just proceeded to eat a little. Table dead ass quiet at this point. Then my best friend said let's go for a cigarette so we got up from the quiet table and walked to the smoking area. I then proceeded to apologize but he insisted I don't and that he should apologize for his girlfriend's actions. Long story short we left the place after we ate and all went home. Am I the asshole please I need to know please? You are the asshole. Unless you have an established relationship that has a norm of taking other people's food without asking, use your words and ask first. Like, this is kindergarten or first grade level stuff. How on earth did you get old enough to be dating and smoking without learning to keep your paws off other people's food? Her reaction was a bit over the top, but it's bizarre that you don't understand this social norm. You are the asshole while you might have intended it in fun and not meaning to be an asshole. And while it might seem to be insignificant. And while you may have tried to make up for it. And while she might well have reacted poorly. You did interfere with her food. You touched her plate, took something that was not yours to take. You didn't have permission. You never have her a choice and invaded her space. Esh. You are a bit of an asshole for touching someone's food. I'd probably do that off my husband's plate. Maybe a very close friend. But it would have been established before that it was okay. I think you just overstepped a bit. It's okay, it happens. She's a massive awe. She was being a stroppy child. You offered to reorder her meal. That's way above what you needed to do and she continued to ruin everyone's night. Maybe her friend is like her and you dodged a bullet. Of course you are the asshole. I don't even eat off my husband's plate without asking if I can because it's just basic courtesy. This is shit we learned in elementary school. Were you raised in a barn? Or by wolves perhaps? Would you be cool if I just started touching your clothes or your hair and asking about where you bought something or what products you use? No? Yeah, people don't like their space invaded without being asked, and this includes food. You are the asshole. Why would you ever think it's okay to take food off someone else's plate without permission? They teach that at the snack table in preschool. I mean, his reaction was dramatic. But you are the asshole for one. Not waiting for her answer and two. Grabbing into her dinner plate. Who raised you?